Let's get to the show. An Associated Press investigation has revealed the Clinton Foundation received at least $156 million in private donations resulting from meetings with the presidential hopeful during her time as Secretary of State. Donald Trump responded by comparing the email fiasco to Watergate, but was also embroiled in accusations on flip-flopping on his own immigration policy. Meanwhile, both Gary Johnson and Jill Stein are polling well here in Colorado. Eric, the news back and forth we hear from both the Clinton campaign and the Trump campaign, neither candidate is doing themselves any favors. But is that going to translate, do you think, to more support for third-party candidates?
We'll see. Third-party candidates historically, with some exceptions, or Ross Perot or whatever, but historically they have waned as Election Day draws closer and people focus on the viable choice. The way you phrased the question, Dominic, I mean, Hillary Clinton embroiled in one more corruption scandal, one more corruption escapade, and Donald Trump embroiled in one more controversy, and you sort of say, where's the news value in that? It's just another day at the office. First of all, this was an Associated Press report. This is not Breitbart. This is not Drudge. This is not right-wing media. This is the Associated Press. So I think you take it much more seriously. Just the numbers themselves, I mean, more than 50% of the people that Hillary Clinton was meeting with during that point in time were major donors to the foundation. What we are doing in this country is we are defining, just like we've defined deviancy down, we are now defining corruption down. And so many Hillary defenders and apologists are trying to make the case that, well, it wasn't this. No one has been able to prove a direct link between a government action and a meeting. But we continue to excuse what is inexcusable. We continue to find corruption down. If there was a viable alternative, I know my friend who will go next here is on board the Trump train. He has a stronger stomach than most. If there was a viable alternative, that viable alternative would be leading these polls by 5 points or more right now, because this country, Hillary Clinton represents everything about insider politics that the public hates these days. This country is not clamoring to elect her president, but there is no viable alternative. And Democrats some are being forced to hold their nose and cast this vote, but too many for my taste who grew up in the reform movement of the Democratic Party are somehow making peace with this person who represents everything they used to be against.
John, when you look at these, both the campaigns, it's almost as if they would have an advantage if they were able to be quiet for a week. I mean, you actually saw Hillary Clinton would have even had a worse, maybe not a worse week, but a bad week the week before. But Donald Trump still had the news cycle talking about him, and that story went away. So when you look at these issues, and specifically the immigration point with Donald Trump, that's a big issue, not only for his followers, but I think in Colorado and the rest of the nation. Is there flip-flopping there that's going to be a problem, or is this kind of part of the progress that is a presidential campaign?
You know, I've been around presidential politics since I was a high school page at Nixon's convention in 1960, Dominic. I've seen a lot of them come and go. I've won them and lost them. I cannot think of a flip-flop, a significant pivot on policy that has ever turned a race. Maybe others on the panel have a clearer memory on that than I do, but this will be something that Trump will ride out as he adjusts really to his broader political benefit, his harsh line on let's deport them all. We don't know exactly where he's going to come down. What we do know is that those of us who are very concerned that America needs more secure borders and more respect for the law by those that want to come here and enjoy the American dream, their choice is Donald Trump, not Hillary Clinton. That's quite clear. I just have to differ with you, Eric. Trump is a very viable alternative after all the mistakes that he's made, all the bias that lots of the media, not all of them, have shown to cover for Hillary and cheerlead for Hillary. Trump is still within 4, 5, 6 points on the average of the polls, and it's very early. It's not yet Labor Day when Americans who have a life, unlike some of us who do politics all the time, only start paying attention to politics in September into October. There's lots of time here. I see Hillary Clinton riding high, but like the Titanic, sailing into perilous waters because WikiLeaks, Julian Assange, more revelations by court order from Congress about her perjury, they could really sink her ship.
John, as we look at the campaigns right now, I mean, John makes a good point about it being August, and there's still a long way between now and the finish line. How many of these email stories of one shape or another can the Clinton campaign endure, or at least count on Donald Trump of making a bigger noise that week of distracting?
Emails, shemales. I'm almost sick of it. I feel like Bernie Sanders about this. It's like, when will this stop? I mean, they had 11 investigations, 13 investigations. They spent millions and millions of taxpayer dollars trying to find anything that they could on this first round of emails. Now we come back with a second wave of emails or invites or whatever they may have been over her email. And as John indicates, the WikiLeaks, if as expected, that could be very bad. But at the same time, Donald Trump, I mean, this is a guy who marries a Russian communist woman. The Republican Party is all about family values. How many wives has he had? How many kids does he have by different wives? Where are the family values that he is adhering to relative to the Republican Party's Big Tent? Well, his tent is bigger than ever, I guess. But the bottom line is, I just don't understand either one of these candidates very well. I'm leaning toward Hillary just because of the fact that she is politics. Donald Trump would have us at war, and how long after he got in office? Would it be a week? Would it be 2?
Justine, when we see a campaign like this one, which I can't think, I agree with John Andrews' point here about we haven't seen anything like this for a long time. Well, actually, your point was actually about a flip-flop not ruining campaigns. I don't want to put the wrong words in your mouth there, John. But I don't
just read
think.
my mind.
Yeah. Okay. There's a lot of folks who have not seen a campaign like this one. Is it going to be about both candidates trying to get into November with just a little bit less collateral damage than the other person?
You know, it's hard for me personally. I think that there isn't as much we have Hillary's emails, and there's, to me, has been a witch hunt through these emails trying to find something that really can take her down. But compared to Trump, I don't think that she's taking on the same amount of collateral damage. Sure, there's this whole idea of moving away from a candidate like Hillary Clinton, this insider, this party person. It seems like there's a lot of noise on both sides for an outsider to come in and change the way things work in Washington. But really, when it comes down to it, Hillary Clinton has a track record that really shows that she can push progress forward that people really want. And maybe it's not out front progress and right away, but it has been, you know, sustainable progress, pragmatic solutions to things that are moving forward. Trump is just like this mess at this point. I feel like a lot of the stuff coming out of that campaign, like, it's just messing with us almost. Like, I start with the taco bowl. To me, I was like, this can't be real. Like, that has to be a joke. He's just messing with us. And now we just keep going on, and it's, you know, event after event, gaffe after gaffe, and it doesn't seem to be any control over Trump. To me, I think that he has a harder time going into November trying to sustain himself as a viable candidate than she does. And honestly, I mean, when you really look at Trump, now he's starting to kind of realize he has to move towards the middle now, and I don't think that's going to go over well with a lot of the other side that was really loud and vocal supporting him in the primary.